Hello, everybody. This is Tavia Jackson. I am so excited that you are joining me for day 2 of our live series. And that live series, we are talking about, listen, she's not here anymore. She is not here anymore. That old us that wasn't getting the results that we wanted, that old us with the mindset that wasn't accomplishing what we wanted, the old thought process that wasn't accomplishing our goals and dreams, she's not here anymore. So I am so thrilled today to talk to you guys about the identity shift, because you can't build the next level with the old version of yourself. It requires the newest version of you. Hi, thanks for joining Talani. Thanks for joining Ruth. Thanks for joining Sonia. Y'all feel free to type in the chat to invite somebody right now. Just pop on over and tell somebody they need to get in here to check out this information. So let's get into it. I'm so appreciative that y'all joined on today. So we're going to talk about this concept today because our identity is so important. Last Thursday, we talked about our beliefs, and we talked about what was happening with our subconscious and our mindset and how those things were impacting our experiences. And so today we are going to be talking about our identity. Your identity is who you are. Your identity is the patterns of beliefs that over time they form and they become solidified in the way that you act and who you are being. So your identity is a part of your being. Hi, Bridget. Hi, Michelle. Thank you for joining. So if you are trying to, say, for example, build $1 million business, but still utilizing the struggle mentality or the struggling entrepreneur mindset, it will be very hard to create that and to build that, because there is a new version, a new thought process that required. Matter of fact, I remember one time I was building a business and I kept coming across this same obstacle back when I was doing Amway. And one of my coaches said, you can't solve a problem with the very same mindset you used to create it. And I thought about that and I was like, you know what it means? It means that you need new information. It means that I needed new information to solve the problem, because I obviously thought that the information I had was the information I needed in the first place, and that's what created the problem. So I need a new level of awareness. I needed new information, new feedback, maybe something I studied, a new person to provide that information. Because until we access newness, you're operating from the same thing that got you there in the first place. And so it is so important for us to remember that. And how does that information come? Okay, we live in the information age. We live in the information generation where everybody wants to Google, Chat, GPT, and that's all good and that's all dandy. However, there are times where you need a real human being to tap in and get that information from as well, for what's happening and what's going on. So I just wanted to encourage each and every one of you to understand why we need a shift, because your next level requires new information. Your next level is going to require you to show up differently. Your next level is going to pull out more from you. So are you ready to rise to that place? Are you ready to rise to that standard? Are you ready to grow so that you can produce a different result? See, because when we don't grow and we don't change our identity for the next level, let me give you an example of this, okay? And no offense to anybody, but this happened. There was a young man and he went through the bariatric surgery and he lost over 100 pounds. And then after 2 years, it had gotten down to maybe he lost 200 pounds, but his identity didn't change. He still viewed himself as the same person, even though his outsides changed. So because he viewed himself as the same person, he had the same habits. And when I saw him again, 3 years later, he had gained back more weight and he was larger than before he had the surgery. See, because there was an identity of a whole, healthy, confident, worthy, deserving person that needed to be created. So he lost the weight, but he didn't lose the weight of shame. He lost some weight, but he didn't lose the weight of low self-esteem. He lost that weight, but he didn't lose the self-doubt. And so it is important to know that we have to change our identity, who we're being and who we believe we are, to make sure we're matching everything that God said that we are. You know, your subconscious controls 95% of your actions. So that means that your results, the results you're getting, they aren't based on your goals. They're based on who you think you are. Your results are not based on your goals. Your results are based on who you think you are. And studies show that people subconsciously sabotage their success if they are not secure in their internal identity. That's what happens. And so it's really, really important to understand that. Same thing with money. Do you know why the studies show that the majority of the people that win the lottery, when you go back and check on them 1 year to 24 months later, and they have no money? You know why? Because their identity didn't change. Yeah, they had money, but they didn't decide to be a wealthy person. Woo. You got to decide what type of person you're going to be. What does that look like? I remember in the book about habits, he talked about your being. And to be wealthy, you have to ask, what do wealthy people think? What is this wealthy person doing? How is this wealthy person making a decision today? See, that's how you start to shift who you're being, because you have to know what is the thought process behind that thing. A lot of people ask, hey, what did you do? How did you do that? How did you do that? How did you do that? But you know, that's a fine question. But there are larger times where we would really need to ask, hey, what was your thought process? Who were you being to accomplish that goal? That's what I want to know. And there's times I've had the opportunity to ask my mentor. I was in an environment with one of my mentors, and he was with his mentor. We were all in the same place. And he gave this amazing story. And I asked him, I said, tell me what your thought process was and what you believed to be able to do that. And he answered the question. Sonia said, my results are not based on my goals, but on who I think I am. Come on. She said, I've already started working on my executive presence ahead of the promotion. You are in there. Listen, if you want to get a promotion, start being the person. Be that role. You don't have to wait to be the blank before you get the role. When you become that now, that's how you open the door for that. You are on the exact right path that I'm talking about. Come on now. So when it comes to stuff, I want you to know that you're not stuck. You may just be loyal to the current and the former version of yourself. You're not stuck. But my question is, are you loyal to the former and maybe the current version of you? So that, let's give an example, getting married, right? If I get married, but I'm still attached to the former version of myself, that would be single, that's not considering the other person, that's not walking in this allegiance and alliance, then what's going to happen? Because I didn't shift my identity, I'm probably not going to get a good result. Yes. So what is it? The one who settled, who questioned, who waited for the perfect moment? Whose identity is that? Is that the former identity that we need to leave in the past? What is the part of the identity that you've seen about yourself that you know can't go with you to the next level that you see for you? Self-awareness is amazing. I call it a station identification check. Check your station. Check where you are so that you can shift to where you would love to be. First, starting with your identity. There's a concept called be, do, have. With this concept called be, do, have, a lot of people get it opposite. They think I'm going to have all these things and I'm going to do this and then I'm going to be or become this person. Well, it's really the opposite. And they mix it up too. Some people say, I'm going to do all these things and then I'm going to have all this money and then I'll be wealthy. No, 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 no. I would like to submit to you, ma'am and sir, that you become wealthy before the money ever shows up. I would like to submit to you, ma'am and sir, that you become healed and whole far before you ever see all the full manifestation of that thing. I would like to submit to you that you become that multi-million-dollar earner. Before the money shows up, you become it. You become it in your activities. You become it in what you read. You become it in who you hang around. You become it in how you think. You become it in how you solve problems and how you're solution oriented. Because your next level is going to require this next word, a decision. It's going to require a decision. It's going to require boundaries. It's going to require habits. You're one decision away from your next level. It's not, can you do it? Can you do it? Will you decide to become and to put in the effort? Will you decide? And will you decide to come from the new identity, not the to-do list, but from the new identity? So my question for you is, what is your not just next level, but what is your dream? What do you dream of being, of becoming, of experiencing? And go all the way there and ask, what is the identity of the person that lives and manifests this dream? What do they do every day? How do they feel? How do they exist? How are they thinking? Because before the breakthrough shows up externally, you must own it internally. I remember one day when I was battling a non-curable, incurable disease per the doctor, but not per Dr. Jesus. Hello, somebody? Because I'm healed. But I remember when I was battling that thing and I said, this will never be my identity. I will never identify with this disease. I will never walk around telling people that I, quote unquote, have this disease, because it doesn't have me and it's not my identity, nor will it ever be. Did I experience it? I did, but it's not who I am and it's not my identity. I'm not making room for it. I'm not allowing it to sit on my couch. It's not my identity. And some of us have created identities where the sick part of us was overly promoted for whatever reason. The sick part of us was overly brought to the forefront instead of knowing that that's not my identity. That's a temporary situation and circumstance that is presenting itself, but it is not my identity. And how many things that aren't well have we attached our identity to? Well, I'm the one that always does this. My family said I'm the one that blah, blah, blah. How many things that don't line up with God's word have we attached our identity to? I know it's kind of quiet. It's kind of quiet. Y'all feel free to pop it in the chat. I want to see you in the chat. I know Sonia said, wow. Hi, Uniqua. Thanks for joining. So my question is the future, the next level version of you, in charge today? Yeah, the sick part of us was overly promoted. So if the future next level version of you were in charge today, what would you change? What would you change? What would you change? They say your future is waiting on a decision, not your perfection. You don't have to be perfect, but make a decision. It's not just your readiness. You got to make the decision. Just your decision. Just your decision. Just your decision. Your identity. Who are you being? Are you being the person that knows that they're worthy? Y'all, have you ever been the person that was in a relationship and wasn't being treated equal to your worth? Have you ever watched somebody else be in a relationship? Girl, you don't deserve that. Man, you don't deserve that. When you know what you deserve and who you are, you respond differently. And so it is so important to remember your identity, because when you know who you are, you don't tolerate that. Like, I'm not doing that. Come on, Luma and Grace Fashion. She said, my future is determined by my faith walk. My faith walk. Because I know who God said I am. I know what he said I can have. And I know who he told me to be. I know who he told me to be. And so when we are that, we get to see multiple promises of God being manifested and made manifest in our life. So what do you do when you want to transform your identity? So when you want to transform your identity, first and foremost, you have to do the discovery to figure out what that is, who that is, and what would you love. Let me give you an example of identity. And this was in the book Atomic Habits. In the book Atomic Habits, he said, if somebody offered him a cigarette, it was super easy for him to say no because he doesn't identify as a smoker. So he said, I am not a smoker, so it's super easy for me to say no to a cigarette. When you're walking in your identity, it makes decisions much easier when things don't align with the identity. Like how we talked about me and being married. Y'all, my 20th wedding anniversary is in February. And at that time, I would have known my husband for 27 years. But I identify as a happily, blissfully married and in love woman. Right? So because that's my identity, there are so many things that it's so easy for me to say no to. Like, no, I'm not going over there to do that. Like, I know who I am. So what is the identity of the person that it's time for you to be? What is the identity? Because when you know your identity, it gets so much easier to take the action steps for your goals. A lot of people are struggling with their goals is because they wrote down a goal they want, but they didn't change their identity. So if you said, I want to lose weight, but you haven't changed your identity to the person who eats whatever they want, and instead to the person who enjoys living a healthy lifestyle so they can enjoy and live to 100. Like when I change my health identity, I am a healthy person, not just a person. My health had an identity. I am the person who eats because food is fuel, not just because food is food. I am the person who understands that food is connected to my healing. That became my identity. I identified with who I needed to become so that I could do what I needed to do to take the healthy steps for my health, for my wholeness, for my healing, and for my lifestyle. So when you take on the identity and it's just not on the to-do list, the action steps become faster. So the be, do, have. So when my being becomes matched with the identity, it's so much easier for me to do the steps, and then I will have the results so much faster. But if you just try to have, or do, but you haven't gone back to the identity of the being, then that's when we struggle. That's when we keep telling people, I've been wanting to do this for years, but I always slide back. What about your money? Are you going to be the person who has a wealth mentality? What are you going to be? Tiffany said a lot of people didn't change their identity to help who they were becoming. Miss Daniel said, mirror moment, reflect on who one used to be versus who they want to be. The new identity makes it easier to accept and to reject. Options. Come on, that's perfect. That's exactly right. Your identity, the identity of what you really want, it's going to make it so much easier. Think about Olympic athletes. Think about the Olympic athletes. There's this book called Grit, right? The good book. And it was called Grit, right? It was talking about Olympic athletes, how he ate all these calories a day, how he slept a certain time, how he went and worked out a certain time. And people would be like, oh, well, don't you want to go do this? Don't you want all these cakes and pies? And he said, absolutely not. Why not? Because I'm an Olympic athlete. He said, I am. Why don't I want this? Because I am a gold medalist. I am a gold medalist, and gold medalists don't do that. Maybe it's with your faith. What are you? I am. For me, it's a Christian. I am a Christian. There are certain things that I do because I identify as a child of God. I am a Christian. No, I'm not doing that. It was so much easier for him to discipline himself. Even we talked about the word and prayer last week on Tuesday. So every Tuesday morning, most Tuesday mornings, I'm praying at 6:30 a.m. So tomorrow I'll be praying at 6:30 a.m., praying the word of God. Last Tuesday, we talked about vision, and the word says, write the vision and make it plain upon tablets that people may run with it. But it also says man without vision will perish. So when you don't have a vision, you don't have the restraint. So you didn't have the vision for who you needed to be. So there was no restraint to do the right things. We're bringing it full circle. We're bringing it full circle. There was no restraint because there wasn't a vision that put out there who you needed to be so that you could do what you needed to do and have what you needed or would love to have. Is that resonating with anybody? Drop it in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you're resonating. Thank you. I see some hearts. I see some hearts as well. And so it is so important to understand this, and then to have people to help hold you accountable and walk you through, to have people that you can observe, to ask them, hey, this is who I am, but this is who I want to be. What do I need to shift? Do you have people that you can be around them and see how they're thinking so you can make that adjustment? They say you are the average of the 5 people's income that you're around. So if you think about your income and you think about the 5 people that you're around the most, and if you, hey, Moni, and if you average them up, that would be about your income. So imagine if those 5 people in your circle were multimillionaires. Do you know why that quote is true? Because those people around you think a certain way, and you begin to hear the thoughts. Your subconscious hears the thought. You see the patterns. They do certain things. So if they're a part of the 5 a.m. club, then it becomes, well, everybody else got up at 5 o'clock. I guess I'm getting up at 5 o'clock. Well, everybody else is working out a few days a week. I guess I'm working out a few days a week. Thank you, Sharon. Everybody else in my circle, oh, y'all investing? Everybody invest? What we investing in? A rising tide raises all ships. So who are you associating with? A rising tide raises all the ships. So it's very important who you associate with, who your circle, your close 5 people in your circle are. Think about that. Think about that. Sonia said, I'm rich then. Go ahead on then. So today we talked about she's not coming back. That old her, she's not coming back because we're going to step into the identity of what we would love. Who is it? What is that for you? What is that for you? I encourage you to write it down. I encourage you to begin to write down your true goals, your true dream, your true vision, and then ask yourself, the person that accomplishes this easily, what are they like? What do I need to shift in me? How do I need to grow? How do I need to grow? So that is really, really, really key. Now, if somebody has a question, if you want to drop it in the chat, we have just a few minutes. I will answer a few questions in the chat. Also, if this hit home for you and you know it's time to align your identity with your dream, with your goal and your next level, that's exactly what we do in the Dare to Dream the Experience program and experience is coming up this Saturday and Friday. So Friday is a 2-day event, Friday 6 to 9, Saturday 4 to 6. You don't need just hype. You need the strategy and the unique upgrade to the version of you who knows how to use it. Man, we are going to cover some belief busting, limiting thought process, shifting things, activations and exercise that are going to change the trajectory of your life for the next 10 years. Can you spend some hours for 2 days to transform the trajectory of your life for the next 10 years? Listen, get in the room. If you live at a distance and you can't get to Charlotte, we do have a virtual option and we want to see you there. This is important. It is important for you to live the life of your dreams. It is important for you to know how to do it. We are rewiring the limits, y'all. We are canceling limiting beliefs, canceling fears, canceling subconscious program that has played in the background and caused the self-sabotage that's kept you from accomplishing the goals and the dreams that you've had for years. You have goals and dreams. I know you do. I know you're the person that thought about it. You're the person that wrote it down somewhere. You're the person that has notes in a journal on sticky pads. You're the person that thought about it years ago. And even as I'm saying this, the things are coming back to your mind, what you've seen, what you've dreamed about. And then there was those belief busters that came in. But guess what? My name means shortcut to new beginnings. And I'm here to help you have the supernatural shortcut to the identity shift so you can have an identity alignment, so that you can have divine activation, accelerate abundance, and a divine strategy to accomplish the dream and the goal that God put inside of you. That is who I am here to be. That is who I am called to be. And my name even means that. That's what my name means. I'm not the author of your dream. I'm an activator to help you accomplish what's already been written with spiritual laws and universal laws, with neuroscience to show you how to work what God gave you. Just like one of my clients, Dr. Ross, she started working with me. She had wanted to do a consulting business, and when she had been working on it for 2 years, and she said, I accomplished more with Tavia, and now my dream is here. I'm seeing it happening before my eyes in 6 months than I did in the 2 years that I was working on it by myself. Y'all, just like one of our other clients, his name is Corey. We were working together, he and his beautiful wife, Courtney, and he had a dream to start a brand new business, y'all. He went from no business to clients and corporate clients, commercial clients, because he was working with these same principles, y'all. And they started at this event. They started an event just like this that's happening this week, Friday and Saturday. Listen, go ahead and register. Register now. The link is in my bio and Facebook and Instagram. If you're already on my mailing list, you have an email with the link. You want to be here. Don't miss this opportunity. Shift the schedule. Get a babysitter. Pray about it. You need Lord, bring somebody to watch these babies, because you gave me this purpose and this vision and this dream, and I'm moving forward. I'm moving forward. Don't miss your moment. And this will sell out. So go ahead and get your tickets. Today is Monday. The registration will be closing in the next few days. So go ahead and get your ticket. Reserve your spot now. Let's go. It's time to no longer be struggling. It's time for your gifts to make the room for you that makes your life better. Money that you can feel, not just money that you see and you quarterback it from your account to another vendor. Money that stays with you. Are you ready to experience new levels of abundance that changes your life for your children, changes the vacations you get to take, it may change your job. It may cause you to quit your job. I'm here for it. I'm the vessel. I'm the vessel to help support your dream. I'm the vessel that will give you the information, the tools, the strategy, and the process to take that dream from thinking it's impossible to seeing that it's possible, to knowing that your results are going to be predictable, which makes your success inevitable. I want to see you there. I want to see you there. Also, my brand new book, we are going to be celebrating that as well. So the cost to get to the event is just the price of the book. So the book comes with your experience. This is a win-win situation. This is a win-win situation. So excited, y'all. So I want to see you there. Much love to you all. Feel free to join me tomorrow, 6:30 a.m. for prayer, right back here. And I'll talk to you all soon. Oh, please tell somebody about this. Forward it to them. Let them know. Even send them the link to the event. Well, I'll talk to you all later. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your feedback. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.